Hello YouTube, this is Charles, and we're doing a little something different here. I'm going to look at one of the very first Transformers I actually bought when I got back into collecting, and that is this, the Soundwave reissue that came out prior to the first Transformers movie, before Transformers Animated, before all that, the Toys R Us Soundwave reissue, which is actually the Sound Blaster mold. So let's look into some of the details on this guy here. See, there's Laserbeak. There is his rub sign and the Decepticon faction symbol on it. See the R for right and the L for left. The record and battery light. Soundwave's infamous buttons are right here, including a play button. There is not a button that says erase, sadly, for everyone who is a fan of Carnage and C minor. However, we have record and stop. And he is a stereo microcassette recorder, which is interesting. Over here on the side, you have a volume knob. It just spins. And of course on the other side you have a button here. I don't know what this is supposed to be. I believe this is supposed to be a balance slider, but I'm not sure. You do have a little bit, I believe these are metal feet on top here, or these parts that will become the feet are metal, but I'm not certain about that. See, underneath there is a little bit of the mold flash, but this thing is very old even now. On the back, of course, there's the rub sign. Let's see if that still works. Yep, still works, and he is a Decepticon. Who knew? Alright, and back here is the compartment where batteries would be stored. Okay. Before we look at the big guy, let's look at his troops. To open his chest cavity, you press this button here. There you go. And you have 2 cassettes, which is how you can tell that this is the Sound Blaster and not the Soundwave mold, because of this expanded chest cavity. You have Laserbeak and you have Ravage, and let's look at them in cassette mode first. Very nice little circuitry diagrams on the back here. Faction symbol, I believe, still works. Rub sign, I mean. Yep, there's a very faint Decepticon glyph. And Ravage is the same way. Of course, you can see his head right there, but, you know. Now, if I remember correctly, this diagram is supposed to be for Fortress Maximus, which I would love to see reissued, but probably will never live to see that. And he was involved in a plot to go get the plans for a weak spot so that Decepticons could raid Fortress Maximus, but I'm not certain about that. And his rub sign, I believe, still works as well. Yep, there it is. Okay. So let's go ahead and transform these two. start with Ravage since I've got him in hand. Fold out this piece, which will become the tail. Fold the head up. Come under here and pull his front paws down. And underneath, you just pull his back legs down, straighten out the feet, and voila, you have Ravage, who has now become French for some reason. Oh, actually, no. Now, there was a Ravage that was issued with the Classics Generations Hound that is a very different transformation and a much more fuller body. A more, I don't want to say well-rounded, but a more, I guess you would say, realistic body type. He still transforms into a cassette, though. And it's actually very nice, but this is the original model. Oh. And he has a lot of detail in him that's not really readily apparent. So you can see filters there where his ears would be, neck. Reverse side. Actually, on the inside, you can see that there's some nice little touches there. See, there's his mouth. So we can just set him aside in the background there, and he'll probably fall over. And then we look at Laserbeak now. Laserbeak, as always, is pretty simple to transform. You just get these two bits and rotate them 90 degrees, I guess. Now you've got feet. Pull these parts out to give him wings, and come in here and pull that out to give him a head and a neck. And there is Laserbeak. Ooh, back up. Let's see if we can get the focus to work. There we go. There's Laserbeak. A little bit of dab of gold paint on him and Ravage for eyes, but not too bad. See, he's got a lot of detail as well. There. Get something to point that out. You can see right there is a little nostril hole on the beak. I don't know why a Cybertronian bird would have nostrils, I'm not sure. But he does. He has another one right there. You can see struts and such. Nice little details making up his feet and legs. So I'm going to set him in the back and get to the boss spot here. Soundwave. Now, I don't have the weapons for these two on hand. They're packed away somewhere. But his weapons are actually pretty accessible. So we're just going to get those out. First, we just come back here and remove the battery cable, or cover, and remove some batteries. And we'll deal with these in a minute. And we'll replace this battery cover. And let's transform Soundwave here. I have to rotate these legs down. Always terrified when I do that. Can't really zoom out any further, so we'll just have to tilt the camera up. And we come back here. On the back of each of his hand, or actually on the side of it, each of his arms, you have a slider here, and there's the one fist, and there's the second fist. And then you reach back here and you fold up his head. Turn around so you can look at his ugly mug. And there he is. Generation 1 / Encore Soundwave / Sound Blaster. I know Soundwave is, his face is the inspiration for the Decepticon logo, but he always struck me as kind of like a samurai kind of style head. As you can see in robot mode, he's gained a few more stickers as I pointlessly try out an accent. Up here on the shoulders especially. But even further down south, and we're going to, yes, I'm going to subject you to a view of his crotch. Right down here on his knee pads. And on his upper legs. See, feet are pretty good, solid. The sides here. Alas, I do not have a turntable to spin him around for you, so. In terms of articulation, well, it's Generation 1, and they were still trying to figure this whole transforming thing out, so he's got very limited articulation. Most of it spanning from, I guess, maybe some of it spanning from his transformation. His arms can go all the way around. They do bend at the elbow. He has no wrist. They can't really move in and out. They can fold back as part of the transformation, but that's about it. Legs, kind of the same way. They don't really, they do twist out a little bit, but kind of have to be lucky and careful about doing it. They bend at the knee, but only so forward, so you can have him, you know, doing this. He can't really do the splits right. Well, he can do a split, but it's not advisable. Head does spin a full 360, so you can do your exorcist jokes. And that's really about it. Now, of course, he's unarmed right now, so you need to give him weapons, which is why we have batteries. And the batteries, there you go. Oh, actually, you guys didn't even see that. Let's look at the batteries. Except for these suspicious looking posts down here, these will actually be, you know, pretty normal. I forget which one goes exactly where, but I do know that one of them will go on top of it, up here. Right in that hole right there. Because it's just not Soundwave without a shoulder cannon. The other one, it has a little more value. You can extend it very oh, it actually splits in half. How about that? And you can kind of, actually, I think this is the one he put in there. Yeah, this is the one that goes up here. And this is the one that's his handgun. And we'll just put it in his right hand here. Now, if you do this correctly, you can have a bird land right on his head. No, actually, you don't want to do that. You do want to put them down here, though, because they won't stand up there. So here. This is Generation 1 Soundwave, the reissue of the Sound Blaster mold. And one of the very first Transformers I bought when I first started collecting again. Who knew that that would eventually lead to, I don't know,